The hunter in the mist was thick. It moved like a living thing, crawling through the dead trees of planet LR09. Everything was silent to silent. Even the wind refused to speak. Reed Carter walked slowly, holding his plasma rifle tight. His boots crunched the dry leaves beneath him, but even that sound felt wrong. He had been trained for war, for danger, but this place was different. This was not war. This was something older, something watching. He was the last one left from his squad. The others were gone, some taken, some lost. No bodies, no blood, just whispers in the mist, and fear in the air. They were sent to LR9 to study the strange forest. HQ said the planet was uninhabited, but they were wrong. 2 days ago, the first soldier disappeared, then the others. Now it was just Red. And the beast. He had seen it once, just for a second. A tall, dark shape between the trees. Red eyes, glowing. It moved without sound, like it didn't follow the rules of this world. Reed had fired at it, but it vanished. Now he was hunting it. His visor scanned the area. Nothing. But his gut told him something was near. He followed fresh tracks, large clawed feet. The trail led deeper into the mist, where the trees grew twisted and close together. He heard a sound, a low growl. He raised his weapon. Something moved. He ran forward, heart pounding. The shape was there again, big, dark, standing in the shadows. He didn't think. He pulled the trigger. Boom, the shot hit. The shape dropped. Reed moved closer, slowly, rifle aimed at. As he stepped near, the mist pulled back just a little, like it wanted him to see. He stopped. His heart skipped. It wasn't a beast. It was a girl. A young alien girl. No older than 12. Her skin was pale blue, glowing faintly. Her eyes, large and silver, looked up at him, full of fear and pain. She had small cuts on her arms, and blood dark purple ran from her side, where the shot hit. Reed froze. She opened her mouth. Her voice was soft, almost like wind through leaves. "Why did you hurt me?" Reed took a step back. "I thought you were the monster." She tried to sit up, but winced in pain. "You are the monster." The words hit him like a punch. He lowered his rifle, eyes wide. "What are you?" he whispered. The girl looked at the trees around them. Her hand touched the ground. "This is my home. You heard it too." Suddenly, the trees groaned. The mist moved again, this time faster, circling them. Whispers filled the air. Not from the girl, from everywhere. Voices. Hundreds. Thousands. They spoke no language. Red understood. But he felt them inside his head. Sadness. Anger. Curiosity. Judgment. The girl looked up. "They are awake now." Reed turned in a circle. Rifle raised again. Eyes scanning the trees. Shadows moved. But no targets. "Who are they?" he asked. The girl didn't answer. Instead, she reached into a pouch on her belt and pulled out a small glowing stone. It floated from her hand and began to spin slowly in the air. The whispers grew louder. Reed clutched his head. The voices were inside him, now showing images. His own face. A burning forest. The same girl. Crying. A beast. His own shadow, but with red eyes. He gasped and dropped to his knees. "What is this?" The girl's voice was soft. "This is truth." And then, silence. The mist dropped to the ground like a curtain falling. The forest grew quiet again. Reed stood up, shaky. The girl was gone. He turned in every direction. No sign of her. Just trees. Just mist. But then he saw something strange. A tree near him had marks on it, not scratches. Carvings. He stepped closer. His blood ran cold. His name was carved into the tree. Red Carter 2177. It looked old, like it had been there for years. But he had never been here before. Had he? He stepped back, heart racing. Suddenly, from deep in the forest, the whispers returned. Only this time, they spoke one word. His name. Red. The whisper echoed through the trees like wind crawling over bones. Reed. He turned fast, gun ready, but there was nothing. Just fog and silence. Reed Carter backed away from the tree where his name was carved. The bark was rough, the letters deep, aged. How could his name be here for years when he'd just arrived? His fingers touched the carving. Cold, real. He looked around again. Still no sign of the alien girl. Was she real? He remembered her voice, soft and strange. "Why did you hurt me? You are the monster." "They are awake now." A shiver ran down his spine. Maybe this planet was messing with his mind. Reed activated his comlink HQ. "This is Carter. Do you copy?" Static. He tried again. Nothing. His HUD began to flicker. His rifle buzzed with a warning. Power failing. System error. Magnetic interference detected. Great, he muttered. He started walking. Not toward any base, just away from the tree. The voice. The carvings. He needed to clear his head. But the whispers followed. Low. Soft. Not loud enough to understand, but enough to feel. Like someone breathing in your ear. After 20 minutes of walking, Reed stopped. The fog was thicker. The trees looked. Wrong. Twisted. Like they had moved since he passed them. Their roots formed strange patterns. Like symbols. He turned in a full circle. He was back at the same tree. The one with his name. Reed stepped back, heart racing. No way. I walked straight. He marked the tree with a fresh cut. Then walked again, this time fast. In a new direction. 10 minutes later, he saw the same tree. Now it had 2 marks. And something new. Another name below his. Reed Carter. 213-52135. That was over 40 years ago. He wasn't even born. His mouth went dry. A sound came from behind him. He turned slowly. The girl stood there just a few feet away. She looked better. Not hurt. Not afraid. Just calm. Reed didn't raise his gun. He didn't even move. How are you still alive? He asked. She tilted her head. Time is different here. You were bleeding, he said. You were dying. I did die, she said softly. Many times. But I also lived. Many more. His hands tightened on the rifle. What does that mean? She looked at him with silver eyes that felt older than anything on earth. You don't remember yet. But you will. Reed stepped forward. Who are you? She didn't answer. Instead, she walked to a nearby tree and placed her hand on it. The bark rippled like water. From inside the tree. A voice came out. It was his voice. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt her. I just thought she was a threat. Another voice. Followed. Reed Carter. Criminal of the forest. Destroyer of time. Reed stepped back. What is this? The girl turned. You keep coming back. Every time you shoot. Every time you break the forest. It resets. It watches. It waits. No, Reed said. This is some trick. Some tech illusion. I'm not crazy. Not yet, she said. Suddenly. The fog lifted for just a moment, and Reed saw them. Figures. Dozens of them. All. Him. Some wore old gear. Some had scars. One looked burned. One had no eyes. All standing in the distance, half hidden by trees, watching Reed. Blinked. They were gone. He fell to his knees. What's happening to me? The girl knelt beside him. Not to you. Because of you. He looked at her. I'm a soldier. I follow orders. I protect my people. You protect the wrong things, she said. You think you are the hunter. But you are the hunted. Suddenly, a loud thump echoed in the forest. The ground shook. Something big was moving in the mist. The girl's expression changed. Fear. They're coming. Who? Reed asked. The forest guardians. They protect the balance. They've judged before. She grabbed his hand. You must remember, or they will take you. Again, Reed stood, his head spinning. Take me where? She looked up at him, voice shaking. To the place where all Reeds go to die. The ground cracked near the tree. A black vine burst out, pulsing with red light. More cracks. More vines. The forest was waking up. The girl pulled him. Run. They ran through the trees. Vines reaching from the ground, grabbing at their feet. Shadows moved beside them. Shapes. Reed didn't want to see. Behind them. Something roared. Not an animal. Not a machine. Something older than both. Reed dared to look back. A giant figure stood in the fog. Its shape blurry, shifting. Its eyes burned red. It looked like him, but bigger. Twisted. The girl screamed. Don't look at it. Reed looked forward again, breathing hard. The forest closed behind them, and ahead. A door appeared between 2 trees. Wooden, ancient, glowing, with the same light as the girl's stone. She looked at him. Do you trust me? He hesitated. The roar came again, closer now. He nodded. They opened the door and stepped through. Everything went black. Everything was black. Then, light. Soft, golden light filled the air. It wasn't the forest. It wasn't the fog. It was something else. Reed Carter opened his eyes. He wasn't standing anymore. He was sitting on a small wooden chair. The floor beneath him was smooth stone. The walls were made of old metal and glass. He looked around slowly. He was in a room. A clean, quiet room. There was a small bed, a shelf with books. A photo on the wall. Reed stood up. It was a photo of him, smiling, but he didn't remember taking it. In the photo, he was holding someone, a child. He leaned closer. It was the girl. The same silver-eyed girl from the forest. She looked younger. Happy. Reed touched the photo. What is this place? A voice behind him answered. Your home. He turned quickly. The girl stood in the doorway, holding the glowing stone in her hand, but she was dressed differently now, like someone from Earth. A long blue coat, boots, a pendant around her neck. Reed stepped back. No, this isn't real. She walked in slowly. It was real. Once he shook his head. I don't remember any of this. I never lived here. You did, she said gently. Or, a part of you did. Reed grabbed the photo frame. This is fake, a trick. She looked sad. Not a trick. A memory. From another loop. Another what? Another version of you. One that stayed. One that didn't shoot. Reed dropped the frame. It shattered on the floor. The girl didn't flinch. Reed sat down again. His head felt heavy. I don't understand. You came here with a mission, she said. But this place doesn't follow your mission. This place follows your choices. He looked up then. Why can't I remember? Because the forest doesn't give memories easily, she said. It makes you earn them. Reed stood again. So what? You're saying I'm stuck in some kind of time loop? Like I live this again and again? She nodded. How many times? Her voice dropped. Hundreds. Red turned away. He couldn't believe it. He didn't want to. Suddenly, the room flickered. The light changed. It went dark for a second, then bright again. The bed was gone. The books turned to ash. The photo burned into black dust. Reed looked around. What's happening? The memory is breaking, she said. You're not ready yet. Reed stepped toward her. What do I have to do to be ready? She looked at him with those deep, silver eyes. You have to remember what you did. The real reason you came here. Not the mission they told you. The one you forgot. The room cracked. Literally. Long black lines spread across the floor, and walls like glass breaking. Reed fell to his knees. Show me. The girl knelt beside him. Close your eyes. He did. And the world fell apart. Now he was in a different place. A memory. He was walking through the same forest. Years ago, his hair was shorter, his armor cleaner, his eyes colder. Behind him, a team of soldiers followed. One of them spoke. Commander Carter, scanners say something's alive ahead. Young Reed nodded. We burn it. HQ says no survivors. But it's a child, the soldier replied. Young Reed turned. Not our child, not human. They pushed forward. Red watched from outside the memory. He couldn't stop it. He couldn't change it. He saw the young alien girl again. She was even smaller. Maybe 6 years old. She reached out her hand, and young Reed raised his gun. Bang. The memory paused. Reed stood there, alone in the frozen moment. The girl frozen mid-fall. His past self frozen mid-aim. He whispered, I did this. The girl's voice echoed, even in the stillness. You did this again. And again. And again. Reed felt sick. The memory faded. He opened his eyes. He was back in the forest. But it was different now. The trees glowed faintly. The mist was calm. No whispers. The girl stood nearby, watching him. Reed stood up slowly. I remember, he said. She gave a small nod. Then you know what must happen. Reed looked around. The forest. It keeps me here until I learn. Yes, she said. Each version of you must learn. Some never do. What happens to them? They become the shadow you saw, the twisted one. Reed clenched his fists. I don't want to be that. Then choose something new. She reached out her hand. Reed took it. The ground below them shimmered. A path appeared, long and winding, made of light. Where does it go? He asked. To your next memory. Reed looked down the path. Then he looked at her. What's your name? She smiled, just a little. You gave me one. Long ago. She leaned in, whispered it. Reed's eyes widened. He remembered, and then they walked forward. Into the light. The path was made of light soft. Floating above the forest floor, like a bridge in a dream. Reed Carter walked beside the silver-eyed girl. His steps were slow, cautious. The forest behind them was silent, like it was holding its breath. Reed glanced at her. I remember giving you a name. She smiled gently. Yes, but I still can't say it. Not yet. She nodded. Memory comes in pieces. You're not whole. They kept walking. Soon, the light path ended, and they stepped into a clearing. In the middle stood a broken machine tool, rusted, covered in vines. It looked like an old satellite tower, but twisted, as if it had melted and reformed badly. Reed frowned. What is this? The girl didn't answer right away. She walked to the tower and touched one of the vines. It retracted like a living snake, revealing a symbol beneath a military logo. His logo. Earth Defense Forces. Reed stepped closer. This was ours. EDF tech. The girl spoke softly. It was meant to observe the planet. But it did more. Reed examined the machine. It's a temporal scanner. Used for deep space research missions. It tracks time shifts. He paused. Then it hit him. This is how the loops started. She looked at him. You brought it. You turned it on. You tried to control time. Reed backed away. No, that wasn't the mission. She stared at him. It became your mission. Again and again. You forgot, then remembered, then forgot again. The machine sparked suddenly. Lights flickered along its broken limbs. A screen blinked alive. Static. Then dash footage. Reed watched himself on the screen older, tired, standing in front of the same machine. If this works, I can fix everything. I just need more time. The video glitched. Another version appeared, angry, panicked. I keep doing this. Why won't it stop? Another version. I shot her again. I didn't mean to. Another. I became the thing I feared. Reed turned away, sick. How many of me are there? The girl whispered. As many as there are regrets. Suddenly, a voice behind them growled. Too many. Reed spun around. Rifle raised. Out of the trees stepped another Reed. But this one was different. His face was half covered in metal. A scar ran down his neck. His eyes glowed red, like the shadow dash beast. He smiled. Took you long enough to wake up. The girl stepped back. Don't listen to him. Reed aimed his rifle. Who are you? The red-eyed version laughed. I'm Youth. You stop caring. If you accept the loop, if you become part of the forest's punishment. Reed kept the gun steady. You're not me. Not yet, the other said. But I was once like you. Confused. Guilty. Trying to fix things. He stepped closer. But you'll fail. Like I did. Like we all did. There is no end, Reed. Only rest. Reed clenched his jaw. Rest isn't the same as escape. The red-eyed Reed smiled wider. Then shoot me. Prove you're different. The girl stepped between them. No. That's the test. Reed hesitated. His finger on the trigger. He thought about the loops. The dead soldiers. The girl. The photo. The choices. Then he lowered the weapon. I'm not doing this again. The red-eyed version frowned. Then you'll die. He lunged forward, but the girl raised her hand. The glowing stone flashed. Bright white dot. Everything froze. The red-eyed Reed stopped mid. Trees halted mid-sway. Even the broken tower's flickering light paused. Reed blinked. What did you do? She looked at him with sadness. I paused the echo. The what? The copies of you. They are echoes. Some strong, some broken. They exist because he never ended the cycle. Reed looked around the frozen world. How do I end it? She stepped closer. You have to find your first loop, the very first version of you that started it all. He frowned. And where is that? She raised her hand again. The light shifted. The sky turned dark. Stars appeared above. One star pulsed brighter than the rest. She pointed at it. There. Reed stared up. That's not a star, he whispered. That's a drop pod. She nodded. Your original landing. Reed's heart pounded. The first version of me. He's still alive. Maybe, she said. Or maybe just his memory. But either way he has the key. The world began to move again. The frozen red-eyed Reed slowly faded into mist. Reed lowered his head. So I go back. To where it all began. The girl touched his shoulder. You won't be alone. Do I have a choice? No. But you can still decide who you become. The forest opened a path. Not of light, but of shadow and fire. Reed looked at it. Then at her. Let's finish this. The path ahead was fire and shadow. Reed Carter stepped onto it, feeling the ground shift beneath his boots. The forest around him was gone, replaced by a red, stormy sky and black earth that cracked with every step. Beside him, the girl walked silently, holding the glowing stone tight in her hand. The light from it was weaker now, flickering like a dying flame. Where are we? Reed asked. She didn't look at him. Inside the loop, deeper than before, closer to the truth. The wind howled, but there were no trees, no creatures, just scorched land and ash falling from the sky as they walked. Shapes began to appear, burned statues, half-formed melted faces, all staring. Each one wore a soldier's armor. His armor. Reed stepped closer to one. Its eyes were wide. Its mouth was open in a scream. He whispered, Are these? She nodded. Veiled versions of you. Echoes who chose fear. Who became the thing they were hunting? Reed turned away. Suddenly, a deep growl echoed across the land. They stopped. From the red sky above, a shadow began to descend. It was huge, at least 10 feet tall. Its limbs were long, twisted, its back bent forward like a broken tree. The head was human-shaped, but the face was wrong. The eyes were glowing red. The skin was cracked and black. Reed raised his rifle, heart pounding. Is that the beast? The girl said nothing. The creature dropped to the ground with a heavy thud. It stood still. Reed aimed. If it moves, I'll shoot. The girl stepped forward. Wait. The creature slowly looked up. Then, in a broken voice, it spoke. Why did you hurt me? Reed froze. That was the same voice. The same words the girl had said. The first time he shot her. No, he whispered. The girl looked at him. You still don't see it, do you? Reed stared at the creature. It can't be. She walked toward it slowly. As she moved closer, the creature began to change. Its skin softened. The cracks faded. The red eyes dimmed out, and suddenly it looked like him. Exactly like him. Reed dropped his weapon. It's me. The girl turned. Yes, the beast was never a thing. It was a version of you. Broken by guilt, by fear, by repeating the same mistake. Reed took a shaky breath. All this time, I thought I was hunting a monster. You were, she said, but it was inside you. The creature, his shadow self, stepped forward, its voice clearer now. I became this because I stopped trying. I gave up. You're not better, just newer. Reed looked into its eyes. Then why am I still here? Because you still believe change is possible, the girl said. That's why the forest hasn't consumed you. The creature suddenly dropped to its knees. You want to end this? Then finish it. Kill me. Reed stepped forward. He raised the rifle again. His hands shook. The girl didn't speak. The creature closed its eyes, waiting. Reed looked at the trigger. Then he lowered the weapon. No. The creature opened its eyes. You're me. You don't need to die. You need to be forgiven. The ground trembled. The red sky cracked like glass from above. Beams of light broke through the clouds. The girl's stone glowed bright, stronger than ever before. She smiled. You made the right choice. The creature began to dissolve into light. As it faded, it whispered, don't forget us. And then it was gone. The statues around them crumbled into dust. The fire path faded into soft grass. The sky turned blue. The wind returned. Gentle and clean. Reed looked around. What just happened? The girl turned to him. You accepted the truth. You faced what you became. And you forgave it. Reed sat down on the grass, overwhelmed. I don't know if I'm a good person. You were once. You can be again. He looked up at her. You knew this whole time. I've seen many of you, she said. But this is the first time one has chosen mercy over fear. Reed looked at the glowing stone. What is that thing really? She held it out. You gave it to me once, she said. It's a memory stone. It holds all your past lives. Reed touched it. Flashes filled his mind. Different lives, different choices, pain, love, sacrifice, death, loops within loops. He pulled his hand away. I saw so much, she nodded. That's who you were? Not just a soldier, a protector, a father. Reed looked at her. I named you, didn't I? Yes, he whispered. Ilya. She smiled. Then, a sound echoed from the forest. A soft chime. A new path opened, glowing gold. She looked toward it. This is the way. Out. Reed stood. Out of the loop. No. Out of this version of it. The deepest layer. One more step remains. Reed nodded, and together, they walked toward the light. The golden path shimmered under their feet, as Reed Carter and Ilya walked. Side by side, the air felt warmer now, lighter. The forest around them was no longer twisted or haunted, was alive, quiet, listening, still. Reed felt uneasy. Each step brought memories, flashes, versions of himself, fighting, running, crying, giving up. So many lives, so many failures. I don't know which version of me is the real one, he said. Ilya glanced at him. You are the one still walking. They stopped at the edge of a wide clearing. At its center stood something massive, a stone circle rising from the earth, surrounded by ancient trees. It looked like a gate, but without a door. Just empty space in the middle, filled with a soft white mist. Ilya stepped forward. This is the heart. Reed followed, of the forest. Of everything, she said. This is where the loop began. As they entered the circle, a deep hum filled the air. The trees swayed without wind. Light danced between the stones like fireflies. Ilya turned to him. The forest has seen your journey. Now it will decide. Reed's jaw tightened. Decide what if you've changed enough to be set free. Suddenly, the ground shook. From the mist inside the stone circle, 3 figures stepped out. Reed froze. They were all him. The first was dressed in full armor, face hidden, rifle in hand, cold, commanding the soldier. The second wore a ripped uniform, eyes red, face scarred, the twisted one he had met before. The beast. The third looked like him now, tired, human, but his eyes were hollow. Reed raised his weapon instinctively. Ilya touched his arm. Don't fight. Listen. The first Reed stepped forward. His voice was sharp. We followed orders. We did what had to be done. That girl was a threat. The second growled. We broke, gave in, became what we feared. And we still live in the dark. The third one whispered. We tried to forget, but we never could. Reed faced them all. You're parts of me. The worst parts. The beast stepped closer. We are you. You made us. Reed nodded. Yes, I did, but I'm not running anymore. The soldier raised his rifle. Then prove it. Make the hard choice. Suddenly, the mist parted again. Another Reed stepped out, but this one was different. Older, wiser. He had no weapon. Just calm eyes and a steady voice. You don't have to destroy your past to escape it, he said. You have to carry it. Reed stared. You're the first one, aren't you? The original, the old. Reed nodded. I was the first to land, the first to kill, and the first to regret. You started the loop, Reed said. I asked for more time. The forest gave it, the old one said. But time is a gift only if you grow. Reed looked around at all the versions of himself. The pain, the guilt, the war inside. Then he looked at Ilya. She watched quietly. What do I do? Reed asked. She pointed to the center of the circle. A glowing seed had appeared floating above the ground. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. The forest wants one. Final offering, she said. Reed walked slowly to the seed. What kind of offering? He asked. The old Reed answered. A memory, the most precious one. Something you're willing to give up forever. Reed stared at the seed. He thought of the photo, the one of him holding Ilya, smiling. He thought of the peace he felt in that memory. Then he understood. It wants me to give up the only version of me that was happy. Ilya stepped beside him. Yes, to prove you've changed. Not for yourself, but for others. Reed looked down. His hands trembled. If he gave up that memory, it would be gone forever. The one place where he had peace, love. But if I keep it, I stay in the loop, he said. Ilya didn't answer. She didn't need to. Reed closed his eyes and let it go. The seed glowed bright, then vanished into light. The forest grew still. Then the gate shimmered and opened. A path of light stretched forward into an endless sky. The soldier disappeared. The beast dissolved. The hollow version faded. Even the old one stepped back into the mist. Reed stood alone. Ilya walked to him. You did it. He looked at her. Will I remember you? No, she said gently. That's the cost. You'll start over but free. Tears welled in his eyes. He didn't want to forget. But he nodded. He stepped into the light as his body faded. He whispered her name one last time. Ilya. And then he was gone. Light, warm, bright, endless, then a breath. Reed Carter gasped awake, his body jolting as if pulled from deep water. He sat up, heart racing. The sky above was soft blue. The trees swayed gently. No fire, no whispers, no loops. He was lying on the ground beside a small, clear stream. Birds chirped in the distance. Sunlight touched his face. Alive. Free. Reed sat up, blinking. His armor was gone, replaced by a simple jacket. His hands were clean, no scars, no burns, no blood. Everything felt real. He looked around. No Ilya, no twisted echoes, no forest watching from the shadows. Just peace. He stood slowly, unsure of where he was or when. Then he saw it. A ship. His ship gleamed, untouched. The drop pod he had first arrived in, resting gently among tall grass. He walked to it, placing a hand on the cool metal. His reflection stared back. He looked older, but lighter. Like a weight had finally left his shoulders. The hatch opened with a soft hiss. Inside, systems lit up automatically. The interface blinked. Pilot recognized. Carter read. Syncing mission logs. He raised an eyebrow. Mission logs. A second later, the screen displayed a list of data he scrolled through. No record of prior landings. No loop activity. All systems normal. He frowned. So, It's like none of it happened, but it had. He could feel it, sort of. He touched his head. The memories were already fading. Ilya, the beast, the judgment, all slipping away like a dream at sunrise. Still, something remained, a quiet ache in his chest, like a name he couldn't quite remember. He closed the hatch and powered up the ship's systems. The com buzzed to life. This is command. Read Carter. Do you read? He paused, then pressed the reply. Yeah, I read you. You've been missing for 11 days. Status. Reed stared out the viewport. Mission complete, he said quietly. Complete. What did you find down there? He hesitated. What could he say? He took a breath. Nothing, he replied. Just trees. Silence on the other end. Then, copy that. Prepare for return sequence. The ship hummed as the engines came online. As he buckled into the pilot's seat, something on the console caught his eye, a small carving, barely visible in the metal. One word, Ilya. He reached out, tracing the letters with his fingers. A shiver ran through him. He didn't remember making the carving, but he didn't need to. The name alone was enough to make his chest tighten. He sat back, staring at the word, and then dashed footsteps. Outside, Reed quickly unbuckled and stepped out. A small figure stood near the stream. A girl, same height, same silver eyes. But she wasn't afraid. She wasn't even looking at him. She was picking up stones, tossing them into the water. Reed stepped closer. Hello. She turned slowly, looked at him, smiled. Double quotes high, she said softly. Reed stared, breath caught in his throat. Do I know you? She tilted her head. I don't think so. He knelt. What's your name? She shrugged. Don't have one yet? Something in him stirred. He reached into his pocket without knowing why. Inside was a smooth, glowing stone. It pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. He didn't remember putting it there. He handed it to her. You might need this someday, he said. She took it gently, turning it in her hands. Then she looked up. Why did you hurt me? Reed's blood went cold, but her expression didn't change. No fear, just a question. He stared at her. I don't know. She nodded slowly. Maybe next time you'll remember. Then she turned and walked into the trees, disappearing into the forest. Reed didn't follow. He stood there for a long time. Heart pounding. The wind whispered through the leaves. Soft, familiar. A voice inside him said, the loop is never really broken, only changed. He looked toward the trees one last time, then returned to his ship. As the engines roared to life and lifted him off the planet, he stared out the window. The world below was calm, beautiful, but he knew something waited there. A truth that would never fully leave him, even if he forgot. As the stars filled the sky around him, he whispered the name again, a name he no longer remembered. Ilya.